A good Brexit deal is becoming less likely every day, but an agreement must not come at the expense of environmental and social standards. The UK's exit from the EU is still painful. In the European Parliament they sang Auld Lang Syne, goodbye, hugged and cried. Not only did the cooperation with esteemed colleagues in the European Parliament end on January 31st, the relationship with the people of the British Isles was also put on new feet from one day to the next. It was not only that day that we realized that the coming period would be difficult. The timetable of negotiating, resolving and ratifying a comprehensive trade agreement in less than a year was too ambitious. Then came the COVID-19 pandemic and with it even more time pressure to negotiate even fewer options directly. The British government has missed the opportunity to easily extend the negotiation time. The transition period will end at the end of this year, and that's just 6 weeks from now, and a good deal will become less likely every day. The question remains, is a bad deal better than none at all? In the event of a no deal, the EU and the UK would act in accordance with the rules of the WTO from January 1st, including customs duties and the associated costly customs controls. This would have consequences for the European auto industry and agriculture in particular. In many cases, exporting to the islands would become uneconomical and thousands of jobs would be endangered. Problematic changes are also pending for many other areas such as online trading, health insurance or passenger rights. The question of the British Internal Market Act is also open. Boris Johnson is threatening not to implement parts of the exit agreement, especially the regulations for Northern Ireland. Although the House of Lords has now removed this option, for the time being, the law is not yet off the table. The intervention of former Prime Minister John Major against the Single Market Act is symbolically significant. But the appeals of the old school pro-European conservative who fought for EU membership at the time against social democracy go unheeded. The British government has already announced that it will reverse the House of Lords decision. If no agreement is reached, the British government is threatening again with a hard border between the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland. Such announcements are what make a bad deal so unattractive. If the UK government unilaterally clears a compromise that has already been agreed, how much can we rely on other commitments that require a similar or greater willingness to compromise? In London, one dreams of a Singapore on the Thames, a British free port at the gates of the EU, but the consequences are foreseeable. The EU Commission has just presented proposals for a European minimum wage. The UK government, however, may be tempted to relax social and labour standards to attract new businesses to the islands. Environmental and climate standards could also be lowered in order to gain a competitive advantage. In the coming year, a CO2 border adjustment is to be presented, a kind of a climate tax for environmentally harmful imported goods. And with the Green Deal, the Union is working to combine climate protection and sustainable, socially just economic activity. The UK would become the new El Dorado of an uninhibited economy. That sounds more like a low-wage country than Singapore, and that in our direct neighbourhood. Boris Johnson is happy to give the new edition of Margaret Thatcher. In truth, however, he insists on strong government support for British companies. The EU cannot accept this mercantilist subsidization policy. Anyone who wants to enter the European internal market has to comply with European competition rules. Negotiations are still ongoing and a final round at the highest level is not unlikely. The British Prime Minister likes the role of the maker. Nobody wants a no deal except those Brexiteers who always say we voted for a no deal. No, you didn't, but that's stuff for another video I'm working on for quite some time now. Because especially during the COVID-19 pandemic, supply chains for food and drugs must be ensured. The refugees on the English Channel must also not become the plaything of political blackmail. The EU would not be completely powerless in the event of a no deal either. Because many regulations for the financial industry, which is so important for London, would have to be terminated with a notice period of 30 days. The European Parliament has to approve the agreement at the end. Together with a large majority in the European Parliament, we hope for an agreement with the UK. The election of Brexit opponent Joe Biden as the next US president will likely increase the chances of an agreement. The new US president will also influence the internal market law. Although the reference to his Irish origin is often provided with a twinkle in the eye, the unconditional support of the Good Friday Agreement is very serious for the US Democrats. It was not for nothing that rumors lingered that the British Prime Minister would definitely not move before the election date in the United States. Boris Johnson has been on the move for months. Since that historic Saturday, the pressure on him to take a step towards an agreement is likely to have increased again. But with a bad deal that does not find common rules for environmental, labor or consumer protection standards, many European achievements threaten to collapse. The consequences for Europe's environment and economy would be drastic, and so such a deal will never pass the parliaments in Europe. And if you now want to know more about European or global politics, YouTube has chosen another of my videos right here for you on the end screen, right next to your chance to subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in my next video. Click and enjoy. Viel Spaß!